So, an individual who I will call She Who Shall Not Be Named released a record the other day. And I'll be honest, I was a little intrigued. I was like, ooh, are we going to get some cool tales of joy and woe? And, about behind the curtain of an entertainer. And it was not that. And when I read the lyrics, I was like, wow, those are not good. I do not like the content on this record at all. And then, of course, when it comes to this person, you can't take anything at face value because the Easter eggs and the lore and all this stuff. So you gotta spend 4 or 5 days deep diving and going back from this record to the last record and before and learning about their relationships. And it's like watching a goddamn Bravo show. It's like sitting there saying the housewives of top tier Hollywood entertainment or the housewives of world pop culture or something. I don't know, whatever. It's awful. I would rather watch any of the housewives show over listening to this record and talking about the lyrics another fucking day and the drama that behind them. It's just, if you like it, great. I'm happy for you and your new record and your group fandom that is absolutely fucking psychotic. And some of y'all are absolute racist piles of trash. But anyways, very problematic group at the end of the day. I could go on for hours about it. But anyways, because of that obsession, I got behind on my own releases and content and whatnot. And yay, autism. That goes autism hyperfocus into obsession. Whoopie-doo! So anyways, I'm a little bit late on the behind the scenes of the gear that I used on my new record, Luminarium, dropping in November, and I'm going to talk about one of the guitars. Now, I've talked about this guitar before. This is my heavily modified PRS. This started out as a blood red Nick Cantonese model. It's got had the wraparound bridge, blood red top, flame top, and I had the guy cut the top off, put a whole new top on. So everything has been changed on this, and it's killer. So when I first had this commissioned, this guitar, I was very straightforward, just metal stuff. Basically 99% of the time on the bridge pickup, every now and then flipping into the middle position for cleans and things. No need for a tone knob, really no need for a three-way switch or a volume. I could just do an on-off switch and be fine. But I like to have that other position in there just for cleans and things. Since this guitar was built, my tastes have changed, especially when it comes to doom. As I have discussed, I do like to use a tone knob to adjust the tone of the bridge pickup. If it's a little too bright and shrill, a little too much attack on the high end, I like to cut that back. And then as well as use the neck pickup in a single coil position and play 85% of everything in that middle position, rhythms, leads, cleans, everything. So about a year before I got the EC1000, the white one for drop C, I was using this for rhythms and leads. And so what I did with this originally I had Seymour Duncan Nazgul Sentient in it. And they were a little shrill. They were a little too bright. So I don't know what it is about this guitar and those pickups. That combo seemed bright and thin to me and just didn't have the attack that I was used to with the Nazgul pickup. So, and maybe it was just me slowly transitioning more into a full-time active player like I was way back in the day. Because I do prefer an active pickup because it just receives the attack. It's more sensitive to my picking attack, and I just like the actives for that. They're just a lot more sensitive to that. I don't feel like I have to fight the pickup to get that oomph in coming out of my hand, So this has Fishman Moderns in it with the Voice 1, Voice 2 switch on the pot. What I did for my Doom stuff was I went into a Voice 2 in the middle position between the two pickups, And so what voice 2 is a PAF. It's a lower, it lowers the gain a little bit, rounds it out like a passive pickup, but it's still active. And then, so it's got a little bit more rounder tone. It's a little bit darker and a little bit less output. And then what I did was rolled off the volume a little bit, pulled back on that output even more, and it kind of acted as a tone control, just darkened the whole thing up and made it nice and just the chunk, the thunk of it all, you know. So this guitar does have the shallower locks. It's got the blade switch tip that's been threaded out. And then it's also got the tremolo instead of the wraparound bridge with a tremolo to kind of lock that in there. And then the Floyd Rose noiseless springs, shell pink on the back, Godot locking tuners, tusk nut with a Matt Heafy groove wrap, fret wrap, or groove gear fret wrap. Initially when I had this commission too, the Nick Cantonese, the reason I picked the Nick Cantonese, not only did it did have a thicker body than any of the other PRSs, because he likes a good Les Paul heavy guitar, but I would have maybe had some birds or something, some fret markers put into this that was like a perloid with some pink in it. Would be really, really cool. I don't know if that exists, but that would be really nice. And maybe someday I'll do that. I don't know. Or just get some stickers. Who knows? But that's how I use this for my Doom. This, like I said, this is in drop C. I had that voice 2 PAF middle position, or it's like a hot rodded PRF or something, PAF, and then up with the volume turned back, and it gave that nice thunky sound, like a nice thick sound. This was on initially was on everything. And then after I got the EC1000, things started to kind of change and adjust a little bit. This is here and there. If you do want to hear this guitar a lot more, it is in the drop C songs entirely on my live album, Thunderdome. So this guitar is really awesome. One of the things I love about this guitar, I wanted a Bonnie Pink because PRS doesn't make this, but this has a teardrop. It's got a teardrop shape like a lot of the bursts. And then, so it's got that Bonnie Pink at the bottom and then more of like that shell baby pink at the top. The really, really, really cool thing about this top is not only does it have this quilt throughout the center, but it's got that flame. It does have a flame. It's got that quilt. And then it's got a burl up here, like underneath the pickups up here is all burled. So it's just like really neat. And down in here, that like swirly bit in here really reminds me of like the ooze from Ghostbusters, you know? So it's just, this whole thing just looks like it's like cascading out. And like you would see in that movie as it was going down the subway, you know, and climbing up the art building. It's just very oozy. Maybe I should change the name of this from Pinky to something. I don't like to name my guitars, but maybe I should name this after the ooze, you know, the Vlad or whatever his name was in that movie. Yeah, this guitar is really, really awesome. It'll be in my collection forever just because it's one of a kind. It's literally one of a kind. And if I was ever to sell it, I'd probably never get the money out of it because people don't really understand, you know. I would say that people wouldn't understand what this is, and they would just go, oh, it was a Nick Cantonese model? Cool, I'll give you $450 for it. It's got well over 3,000 of modifications in it, including, you know, the host guitar. Yeah, this is awesome. This is a really awesome guitar. It is on my new record, Luminarium. This week's track is called Waste. Please check it out on YouTube, dropping this Saturday, and Luminarium dropping middle of next month.